Welcome to Teach, Lead, and Expire, Father-Son podcast, where Jordan and his son dive into real talk about family legacy and the challenges shaping men's lives today. From personal reflections on the changing climate, both the world and in society, to candid father-son conversations that explore how values, resilience, and intentional living can shape the future of generations to come. This episode isn't just about looking back, it's about building forward with humor, honesty, and a few surprising tangents. The conversations always lay the foundation for what it means to create a lasting legacy in health, wealth, and relationships. This episode is about how we got screwed because there was never any conversations about money at home before getting our first jobs. Well, that kind of brings us to the next topic.
Hey.
Okay, we talk about the places where we get screwed. So when and none of this conversation ever comes up on the kitchen table or anything when you're growing up, and then you're out in the world and you're earning money and you're making money, but the things that you want a nice house, you want a car. And so we all go through all those traps and get ripped off and do stupid things. I think we even mentioned like buying a car when you're upside down. What the fuck are you thinking of? You're upside down in your car. So you can't go get a brand new car and drive it off the lot. That's 20% gone to depreciation and want to turn around and come back and buy a new car in a year. That means you're going to be upside down. So what they're going to do, they're going to take that principle that you didn't have and just tack it on to the loan.
Yep.
And you may be able to do that once, but once that second time, now you buried up under there.
You're done.
And all of us whose parents never set us down to explain that trap about the experience of buying a car have willed and passed on that gene to our kids, and they're going to go through that crap. Okay? So
because freaking even I myself was guilty of it once.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
Have I done it again? No.
But even looking at it, as long as I get paid.
Nope.
Yeah.
And freaking, I am also smart enough to understand from a financial standpoint that sometimes it's smart to downgrade, to downsize, to do the things that you need to do. So as they say, you can rebound, you know what I'm saying, and come back bigger and stronger than you were if you had stayed that course. Sometimes you have to shake it up because it's what's best for your financial situation. Like, case in point, I tell everyone this story. When everyone asked me why I got rid of my Challenger that I had shortly after we got the house and everything else, I said for two reasons. I said, number one, we moved out to the country, out to the sticks. You know what I'm saying? The roads out here aren't the greatest. Even my freaking driveway and most of the roads in my neighborhood are gravel and everything else. That car was a show car. That car was built for, you know what I'm saying, highways, you know what I'm saying, city roads, things of that nature. Great, awesome car for things of that nature. Yeah. Could I still drive it? Yeah. But it wasn't, number one, as fun anymore because of where I lived. Number two, I didn't want to take the chance of freaking speeding around one of these freaking country corners and freaking I'm, you know what I'm saying, over a ravine somewhere in it. But also, I thought about the fact of I'm a homeowner now. I have a house. I live in the country. There's things that I need to do and things I need to be able to do. It's an older home. I got to fix things up. So I got rid of my sports car or muscle car for a truck because that made more sense. Not only from a financial standpoint, because I got a great deal on the truck and I had equity in my daggone muscle car to where my truck payment is a whole lot less than what most people would have paid for that exact same truck.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're about to do the exact same thing here again with Misty's little Jeep here, because I was doing the numbers and running everything on that, and I'm just like, it's almost paid off and I got some equity in it. So I'm like, huh, do I pay it on off? Or do I go ahead and get something and do it one more time and get something else? You know what I'm saying? Lower that payment a little bit more again, and do what we need to do. Especially because, in all honesty, since I've been recovering from the motorcycle injury, she's been driving my truck
Right.
because I haven't been driving it. And yeah, I don't think I'm getting my truck back. Uh,
See now the Ramsey rule would have said on that car is to pay that car off and then take the amount of money that what you were going to pay for that new car and put it in the bank and ride that car for at least 2 to 3 years, but making sure that you um, make sure you keep it well maintained. In other words, changing the oil and doing all the transmission, doing the preventive maintenance of
mhm,
doing that. Then go ahead and take that car because now it's been well maintained because it has equity then that's there. But the problem with cars, just like anything else, is a depreciating asset. But if you do that, then you're able to go in because cash talks. And the ideal is take your car plus the amount of money that you have in that savings and then pay cash for the next car. And then you do repeat the cycle. You take the amount of money that you would have paid on a car payment and you put that in the bank to save. And at the end of 5 years, you go in and you take money out to buy a used car, but still leaving some of that in there. So you take 2/3 out what's in there
mhm.
and you go ahead and buy another car cash. Of course, we're not buying a new car. You're buying a car at least 2 years old, so the depreciation somebody else paid for it. And then you repeat that process. Okay. You repeat that process 2 more times. So virtually what you're talking about is 3, 5. You're talking about a 10-year time point of doing that. You're still driving a newer car, but you're paying cash for them. But the end result is this is the bonus. By doing that, at the end of 10 years, you'll have enough money in that bank account to go ahead and buy a new car every 5 years for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life using that technique. It's almost the same thing, just the opposite happens when we get stuck in the situation about student loans. So remember that the one post I put, yeah, that post has taught me a lot. And that was the one about the student loans and the veterans, how the veteran get ripped off.
Mhm.
Okay. So as of this morning, it's up to, and this is about no ad, no boosting, no nothing. It's happened on it. So it got posted. So now it's up to 179,447.
Nice.
Every day, just like this morning, every day I'm getting people what you're liking. So the last time we spoke last week, I think I had 4,000 likes. This morning it has 7,200 likes. Last time the shares were at 205, the shares at 531. The saves doubled from 170 to 389. And now the other factor that just hit up in there, the repost was 202. So
Nice.
people reposted it to their pages, and that's why this thing is just continually growing. And this is a hot topic that's going on. So that motivated me so much is that since this last week and everything else was that I wrote another book and it's due to be released on Monday. And it's about student loans, but it's really more about school. So I wrote the series, and I guess this is probably I'm trying to decide on the cover and stuff like that. But you can see this one. This is just the Against the Odds. I'll go ahead and put it on the thing there.
Mhm.
Um, but the book series has been about books about this continuation school and about these kids that everybody had given up on, and each one combated different things, either from LGBTQ are just what I call racial profiling from a young black kid who happened to be on the street, the wrong street, and the cops saw him because he was black and pulled him over and put handcuffs on him and said he looked just like the black kid that they got reported, robbed, all that type of stuff, pregnancy, immigration, and that's what the whole book series on it. But the other book, all the three books were are mainly, and I'm probably going to go ahead and send them to you because I think it's going to be good for you to do that. Um, it just talks about overcoming adversity and everything else in all those books. But what I wind up doing on those books is that they were fiction. So all my other books, first books I did were all about education, nonfiction. It's about teaching and about leadership and about how to do things in the classroom. Then I shifted and then I started doing my first fiction books. Okay. But this book four is a real raw book. Okay. So it's not a Walmart version. You ever seen, I'm trying to remember one of the books about the Navy SEAL. What he said, you can't
About the
hurt
Tom
me.
Clancy books.
No, 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 no. This is a black Navy SEAL. God, I'll wind up putting his name of his book up on there that I saw. But I think it's you can't hurt me or something like that. And when you open the book, or even have you seen the movie probably Full Metal Jacket?
Oh, of course.
You've seen the movie Stand and Deliver.
Of course.
Okay. So, and also you've probably seen Freedom Writers.
Yeah, multiple times.
Okay. Freedom Writers. And of course, we've seen Hidden Figures, all these types of movies and everything else. But the language in them is raw because
Yeah.
that's how it is. So, like, for instance, when I'm in my classroom as a regular teacher, I am prevented from using slurs and cuss words. Okay. I don't even want to use the word damn because somebody even get offended to that. Oh hell, I mean, boy, they're looking at you. But yet, when the kids shut my classroom door and they're out in the hall,
Hmm.
you hear it all F this and in this and all of that stuff is going on. Okay. Likewise, when the kids are gone off the campus and you just got teachers up there talking to each other,
Of course.
we're going to do our regular slang, just like it's on the drill field. But on the same time, you can have on that same high school campus, and you go down to the football field, and you see the football coaches over there when somebody was up there coaching, and someone goes left or didn't hit the right hole. You're hearing all sorts of F bombs and everything else.
But that's
Okay.
acceptable. It's a sports
It's
coach.
acceptable for the sport. Okay. So I decided, I said, you know what? When I read his book, and he sold a lot of book. It was a bestseller, and it's really kind of ticking me off that you know what? I need to find that. I need to find the name of that book because I actually have it. Oh, I actually do have it. I have it on Audible. Okay, um, but it's you can't something. Let's see here. I thought it was you can't hurt me. I think it is. Oh, Can't Hurt Me. Can't Hurt Me. This is by David Goggins.
Oh, okay.
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 David Goggins. Okay. Yeah. A Navy SEAL guy, former
Yeah.
Navy SEAL talked about, and it's raw. He uses raw language in it. So this book is raw. Okay. When you got an old Marine teacher in there and starts talking about stuff, it's raw, just like it normally would be in the classroom. And so the book is real because, like, matter of fact, the first chapter, the first chapter of the book says keys don't mean shit. That's the first chapter. It starts out with that title because it talks about education is the key to freedom.
Hmm.
Education is the key to freedom. Okay. And the first chapter is a wake up call that says keys don't mean shit because the system is fixed and is not working. So um, I preface the book in there about the background saying this is raw. And I said it needs to be this way because it's realistic of what is actually happening on the campus, in the schools, with the conversations. And sometimes you just got to say it just the way it is because
Mhm.
otherwise you don't get the attention. So many times, I had a student in my classroom that was, acting up and everything else. And I wanted to talk to him just like a DI in the Marines was going to say, set the fuck down.
Right.
Sit your ass down. You know, something. And guess what? There was a couple of times when I had just had it, and I actually said that. And he said that the student looked like this, and the peer said, "Yeah, you heard the doc. Set your ass down." you know. So, but the whole theme on this, it comes out about goes in and hits the thing on student loans because of the results I was getting on this. Okay. I started saying, I said, this is a hot subject. And also it pissed me off because when I first got this, that post, I wanted to boost it. So, but when I tried to boost it, Facebook it blocked it. And part of it is because my lack of understanding on their algorithm, and because it had the word loan in it, it automatically triggered it because a lot of these the ads are being approved or disapproved. It's being done by a bot. So when the bot saw the word loan, it says, "Hey, this is a financial product." And so because I didn't check the box that says it is a financial product, like a loan, it automatically rejected and kicked it back. And I said, "Well, wait a minute, this don't make sense." I said, "I'm not talking about a loan. I'm not trying to get people a loan. I just want to tell you about the loans." So I got pissed, and then when I started looking at that, I said, "You know what? I need to write it just like it is." And so that's what the book talks about these kids in school, how they were forced to fill out the federal student aid application as a graduation requirement. And then they started talking to other graduates from the high school that had graduated, went to college, some that didn't finish and get the degree and got stuck with the loans, others that finished their degree and they got stuck with the loans, and it just became a whole big thing. And what it really hit back onto it is that, see, this month in November, I'm going to do a presentation at the California Math Council in Palm Springs, and the subject that I was going to talk about was how to build thinking classrooms um, using AI, and it was based off of information from my first book and also the thinking building thinking classrooms, which is this professor from Canada that's done very well. So I was going to combine those, but I'm combining it with AI.
Right.
So it's all about showing how to teach kids a different way using AI and using those techniques. But then the topic was going to be about student loans and about math. Because the one thing out of 20 years that I was teaching high school, especially with algebra, every year I get some student who would say, "When in the heck am I going to use this when I graduate?" In other words, they're talking about math. In other words, math's the requirement. When am I ever going to use it? You put the equation 2x plus 2x plus 5 equals 15. The person says, "Well, we're going to solve for x." And the student will say, "When in the hell am I ever going to write an equation to solve for x when I get out of high school?" That's the question that they always ask. When am I going to use it? So the book starts in a math classroom where he goes in, and this time, instead of saying the canned answer that a
Mhm.
teacher normally would say, it would say, "Well, you will you," because I would when kids would ask me that question, I would give examples about saving money for doing my floors. So, for instance, if I was going to do floors, I would make up that analogy of me doing my measurements and doing the cost and getting three bids and doing that type of stuff. Okay. Um, and this time, the teacher, when he's asked that question right up front in the class, he just tells the kid, he says, "Well, you're not going to really necessarily solve for X." I said, "But the main thing is not the formulas. The main thing is for you to use and understand math and numbers so you can recognize when you're getting screwed. That's what he said. And then people said, "What do you mean, screwed?" And then one of the other students talked about, yeah. And he started talking about her sister that graduated and got these student loans. And then
Mm-hmm.
another kid breaks out in the classroom, talks about his mom was up here crying because she was trying to figure out how to pay the bills because all of a sudden now the student loans that had been put in forbearance and now she's got to go ahead and pay them. And it was talking about regular things. It hit it right on the top of that. And it really goes over. And what happened was that the teachers decided, you know what? Out of all the subjects, out of all the topics that we're teaching in the math classrooms, the most important one today, in my opinion, is that you've got to teach them how not to get screwed when they buy in a car, how not to get screwed, how to prepare themselves so they can buy at home. But the another one is now how not to get screwed by Sally Mae, okay, with your student loans. They need
Right.
to teach that as a number one thing, okay? And I'm realizing I taught 20 years in the classroom and I taught different things, but the one subject that I never taught about was student loans. And the numbers are mind-boggling, okay? So right now it says that the average teacher, U.S. teacher, carries $58,000 in student loan debt. And they say 1 in 5 say this debt made them consider quitting because they wanted to pay the loan off. So, and the teaching jobs depends on where you're at. Okay. Like I was getting paid 6 figures, but why? I got paid 6 figures because I had to go out. I had a bachelor's and a master's and a doctorate. And every time I got more education, it moved me over. But at the same time, not all teachers are doing it. You got teachers starting out having 40, $50,000 in debt from student loans and making $40,000 a year. And that's before taxes. The other thing it talks about, it says the average time to pay off student loans is 21 years.
Mm.
21 years. So that's why I wrote the book, and it's called Shattered Chains. And I'm also going to be hosting and setting up a webinar that's going to show people 3 steps in order to get out of debt. Um, the other thing was concerning the other alarming news stat that I found out was this. Nearly 1 in 5 Americans over 60 still carry student loan debt, either their own or co-signed for their kids or grandkids, that parent plus loans. So because they didn't make preparations through their lifetime, what they did felt obligated to help them because they didn't want them going through the debt. So they go out there and get that loan. And that loan interest is 2 to 3%, 2 to 3 percentage points higher if you take out a parent loan. So now the other thing says the number of 65 and olders has quadrupled, okay, in the past 15 years. So what is that telling us? Oh, and it says here's the other thing. For those that have unpaid student loans, then guess what? The government starts to garnish the Social Security check. But even more important is this. If you have a grandparent or if you have a parent that who is, okay, if you have a parent which is in that age bracket
Mm-hmm.
and they're paying student loans, the real thing that everybody you should wake up to the point is this. So now, like for instance, okay, so I am in retirement. Okay, I can pay my student loans, and right now I'm paying about $1,500 because I want to get rid of my things. But I'm paying $1,500 a month. So the good question is, what difference does it make to you if I'm paying $1,500 a month on my student loans for the next 10 years? Does it impact you?
Impact me
Yeah.
personally?
Yeah.
I really don't see how it would affect me other than their overall interest rates that they'd like to carry.
Hmm. Yeah. But you know
based
what
off of
is,
people
yeah.
actually paying their loans on time.
So here's the real impact. And this is how we've been in this whole system about things. Here's the reality check. If you take 1,500 and you multiply it times that 10 years, which is 120 payments, it comes out to be $180,000. So guess what? If I didn't have a student loan, and if I could pay the student loan for 1,500, that means I could save 1,500, right?
True.
Which means I could have 180 to $200,000. And if I was actually doing it, because I know I don't put that type of money in a regular bank account and get my 2, 3, 4%. No, I go ahead and put it in my investment portfolio, which I know that I manage. I can get 15 to 18%. If you take the rule of 72, and if you take 15% interest into your rule, divide that into 72, it's going to tell you roughly get a little bit over 5.5 years to double the money. So we're not talking about 180,000. Now we're talking about $360,000. This is what happens when your grandparent is actually, who's over 60, is paying student loans, is that when they die, currently up under that situation, there is squat to pass down. That is not generational wealth. If they don't have the student loans and they're financially well, that means they're putting that money into a savings account, which means when they die, you have generational wealth, which means that money can be there to prevent the other ones, your kids, my grandkids, from doing the same stupid ass shit that we did. That's what people are missing also. The number of people over 60 that have student loans has is in the last 15 years has quadrupled 4 times. The truth is, since 2004, when they originally started getting the stats on this, it's actually been 6 times the amount. And why? Because of the cost of education, the whole system, the damn schools raised their tuitions and everything else up the price. And we get forced into situations where we had to get the loan in order to get better better job to keep our job like I did. I had to.
Right.
Okay. But the situation. So guess what? It's not making sure only making sure that your loans are paid off before you get 60 and retire. Because if we want to perpetuate and change, if we want to make a change and go to generational wealth, we got to get rid of the student loans. And it's for everybody in the damn family. And as quick as possible. That's why right now I am working on this. Um, so there are some other things that I'm actually working on that model system that I'm going to be paying off my loans within 3 years. I've been working for a year on a lot of bits and pieces, and now they're all coming, they're all coming together. Um, so it's just about there. And so when you mentioned the fact about now, I'm realizing this morning, and we're going to finish up here because otherwise we keep going. But one of the things when you called me about us doing this podcast, okay, I look forward to it. I look forward to our conversations, learning, and every time we get on, I'm learning more things that you went through just like I did. Okay, like father, like son. But there's a lot of things as we're discussing that I'm saying, damn, this is something that I could have been telling my sons about it before, but we didn't think about it. Well, we got to wake up and change that. So um, there's a lot of things going on. Okay, and I do have something that's coming up that I'm working on that will give you the opportunity to earn some more money in a different way. Okay, but I'm going to wait to show. I'm almost got everything. So some of the things. So we have this going, and this is not going to stop because this is going to be key. Because we're telling people like Lifeline. We're going to share with them talking about student loans and how to save money and stuff. And if we keep doing this and keep with our messages going up and out, consistent across the platforms, okay, we're going to have a mission. We're going to have a following because it is happening now. Okay. Just like on here, the other thing that's happened out of that one post on there is that is I have followers, the number of followers, but the main part about it is that I'm not using ad spend. I'm not spending money on ads.
It's organic.
It's organic. That's the best part. This is what I have right now is organic. So, and part of that is this show is part of it. This is going to keep going. But offline is that people are going to come to us because we have a solution. And that's why I did that book. So that book is going to be released on Monday. And right now it's just priced at like a $2.99. Okay. But as soon as it gets released on that, I'm going to send you a copy. I'm probably going to send you the audio version on it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have the audio. Well, I can get the audio. I just don't want to pay for it. I'm thinking I may just want. No, I am. I'm going to pay for it to get it. Put it in audio because I got more time to go on the other ones. The other thing is the app. So the app is being refocused. The app is live, and that's being worked on this week. So by next week we'll talk about it. So, but we have the Teach, Lead, and Expire Instagram. We have the Teach, Lead, and Expire um, Facebook page. That's been growing. So we now have 500 followers on that one. I have the wellness page that has about like 350. So they're in place. And it really looks good. The Teach, Lead, and Expire Facebook page is a good page. It's getting good wellness information and stuff on it. And that's what it is. It's about living healthy and it's about living right and it's about paying off student loans. And that's there. So the app is there. The TikTok one is now going. So, but I did rename them. So because of the thing with the student loans, it's shifted to this concept called the debt-free playbook. Um, and it's a reason for that. Because in the book that I'm releasing, what happened was these kids decided that they wanted to change and they wanted to do something and not be in student loans and wanted to be able to go to college without getting a student loan. So therefore they decided they had to come up with a side hustle or a side business where that they can do that. And so, but the other thing they wanted to do, they wanted to start a movement and start telling, see, all these kids this year in every high school, which are being forced to take out those student loan applications. They created an app in the book. They created an app so the kids made it download free. So it tells the kids all these things about not what to do to get scammed.
Right.
Okay. And guess what? And guess what the name of the app was? It's called the Debt Free Playbook. And the Debt Free Playbook are the new handles on an Instagram Facebook page and the TikTok. TikTok just sent me this week a thing about going live and
Nice.
also an Instagram about monetization. So all of the channels are being set up to have monetization and everything else. And so what's coming up next is something that I'm going to need somebody who knows how to close sales, but more importantly, with an interest of customer retention and making sure that we make our customers happy. Okay. And I'm getting this information from I'm working with I'm working with three millionaires, internet millionaires, and I've been doing this for the last week. So as I'm structuring up our brand, so the brand is to Teach, Lead, and Expire up under the Annapolis Cree LLC. And I'll talk about those other things once I get them all finalized. Once I get everything finalized and where everything is set up, then I'm going to introduce you and show you how we're going to make money on this. And I'm very excited about about this part. Okay, so big time. This is what I've been working on. This is my dream, as I've been working on. All right, another one. bites the dust.
Another one.
Another one. All right. Okay. I will see you next week. And then I also have to do some editing, but I've been working on this other project to get that part going. Because there's money. It's money involved in there. But I have the other ones. So I am going to go ahead and actually get all three of these in, especially this one, because the
Mhm.
book goes out on the book goes out on the 14th. And let's see here. Let me see if I can. So pretty. It's called Shattered Chains, but I'll send you a copy of it.
Okay.
So you'll be able to get it and everything else. And I'm gonna go ahead and start to get it for the audio version and stuff as well. Okay, okay.
Okay,
See you at the
okay.
top. Give my best to your lovely wife and my grandkids.
I will.
Okay, and I'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week, Dad.
Okay.
25 years chained to the loan. Principles climbing, eating marrow from bone. Deferred dreams stacked like bricks in a cell. Forbearance whispers, welcome to hell. Interest a feast, this a feast of famine. Going at the core, your savings abandoned. Subsidized savor, now just a pause. While the principal grows with predatory claws. They say it's the key to the sky, but they never teach you how to fly. Why buy a lock just to lose the key? Why trade you for a debt decree? Public service, they call it grace, but it's a lifetime race, a paper chase. The student loan trap, no cap collapse, and paying interest so the balance snaps. Subsidized lines, the wait don't fade. 25 years, the debt parade. Golden chains in a velvet box. Promises wrapped in paradox. They say the dream they paid a toll. A guilty cage to steal your soul. Facts of forms and a dotted line. They say it's yours, but it's never mine. Math they skip, but the bill's on time. The numbers climb, the mountains blind. They say it's the key to the sky, but they never teach you how to fly. Why buy the lock just to lose the key? Why trade you for a debt decree? Public service, they call it great, but it's a lifetime race, a paper chase. The student loan trap, no cap collapse. Pay your interest on the balance snap. Subsidized line, the wait don't fade. 25 years, the debt parade. Promises made on silver tongues. Generations can't they'll never run. Diplomas frame hanging like nooses. In this game, everyone's losing. 2 decades in, still deep in a hole. Thought freedom awaited, just another toll. Sweat and tears, can't see your youth. Sold a dream of scaring the truth. They say it's the key to the sky, but they never teach you how to fly. Why buy the lock just to lose the key? Why trade you for a debt decree?